opinions shared by our host and guests are their own and don't necessarily reflect the views of the Organization of American States or its donors. Thank you for tuning in.
Las opiniones expresadas por nuestros presentadores e invitados son propias y no necesariamente reflejan las ideas de la Organización de los Estados Americanos ni de sus donantes.
Hello to all of the listeners of Radio La Zona, the Zone, the space that connects voices, communities, and opportunities across the region, specifically in the adjacency zone of Belize and Guatemala. Today, we have the honor of welcoming a distinguished guest, Ambassador Oscar Arnold, Chief Executive Officer of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Belize.
Yes.
Who joins us as part of his participation in the OAS General Assembly here in Panama. It's a pleasure to have you here today. And to start off this short interview, our listeners are youth of Belize and Guatemala. So to start off, could you share a bit of your professional experience and what you consider to be the main achievements of this forum, as well as how it aligns to Belize's priorities?
Okay, great. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to your listeners and viewers, especially to young people. It's an area that I worked it all my adult life. Grew up in Belize City, went to school in Belize City. My expertise is in finance and economics. That's my background, that's my training. I worked in banking for almost 20 years. I've been an athlete for more than my adult life. And so I've been training and coaching young people as well in the sport of volleyball. And now I served as ambassador of Belize in Mexico for 5 years, and now I am at the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Capital as the Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Perfect, thank you for sharing. And since your participation here now at the General Assembly, how would you say that it aligns to Belize's priorities in terms of multilateralism, in terms of peace? How would you say that aligns?
Well, for more than 80 years, the OAS has served this hemisphere as the primary organization for multilateralism. We have so many countries that have signed on to the charter. Very important for a small country like Belize. We know very well the referendum, the claim that Guatemala has on Belize, and that claim has been now sent to the ICJ. For countries, it is very important in this day and age for us to try to resolve our differences peacefully and amicably. We live in a time where there's disruptions in almost every part of the different hemisphere of the world. And so it is important for Belize and Guatemala to show that we are a model of peace, that we can work the mechanisms in the OAS to try to reach a peaceful resolution with a difference that has been coming forward for hundreds of years. And so for us, it is important to continue to work that process, to continue to work the model that the OAS has. I believe that there are some programs within the adjacency zone that serves both the interests of Guatemala and Belize. We do have communities along that area, and eventually when we do get a definitive resolution, a definitive judgment from the International Court of Justice, we will have to look at how to better provide services to the people who live in this area, and make sure that they're treated with dignity.
And over the years, we've seen how Belize and Guatemala have maintained and sustained dialogue and cooperation, as you said. So now, from your perspective, how would you describe the evolution of this relationship between these two countries up to now?
Sure. Well, it's a claim that Belize inherited when we gained our independence in September 1981. And so we've moved from being to have a lot of friction, for it to be very abrasive, where countries really, we didn't have much communication, to where now we are engaging in a lot of bilateral cooperation. Belize and Guatemala are in talks to work out a partial scope trade agreement, for example. Along our borders, we have communities where we have Belizeans go across for trade, to seek medical help, to purchase goods and services. And we have everyday Guatemalans coming over to go to school, to learn English. And so there's an interchange that happens organically, even without the authorities putting their fingerprint on it. So it's very important that this continues. We now are at a place where we can speak amicably across the table. No process is without its flaws, but we have where we can resolve disputes if there's any flare-ups. We have mechanisms, we have the structure of communications in place that we can lodge our complaints in a very peaceful and constructive manner.
When it comes to the confidence building measures that have benefited the communities living in the adjacency zone of Belize and Guatemala, what is your perspective now looking at the work specifically of the office in the adjacency zone with the work that they have maintained over these years?
Sure. No, Belize is very grateful to the OAS, the leadership of the OAS, and even furthermore, the group of friends, because without the OAS, without the contribution of the group of friends, which are friendly nations who contribute not only politically, not only with support, but with economic support, economic material, so that the OAS can engage both countries and all the communities within the border. They can provide goods and services. That is very important. For us, we don't believe that this would have been possible without the help of the OAS. This podcast, this radio station that we have, the Zona, wouldn't be possible without that. We understand, and I visited the adjacency zone maybe 2 years ago as my capacity as ambassador of Belize in Mexico. The artisans that are being trained, the bakery that is there, the economic activity that is being encouraged on both sides is something very healthy. It is something that we welcome, and we want to build on that. Those things would never be possible if we didn't start at the ground level and continue to build confidence. So the confidence building measures are very important. We hope that we can expand and we can amplify where we are now in the coming months and in the coming years.
And to conclude this short interview, like I said, this is a community radio for listeners, young listeners specifically of Belize and Guatemala. What final message would you like to share with the youth of our communities of Belize and Guatemala about the value of dialogue in building a more peaceful future?
Sure. In almost the 20 plus years of work of the OAS of Guatemala and Belize committing to a peaceful resolution of this claim, we want to have it be a shining example to the youth that we can be different, but we don't have to have too many differences. We can agree to disagree. They are the future for this entire process. I believe that my generation, the generation that came before me, laid the groundwork where this can be amplified, it can be built upon. So they have a great responsibility for them to take ownership of where we are now and where they want to take this process. So I want to say to the youth, take ownership of the process, find out more about what has happened over the past years, and have a vision, a clear vision of where they would want to take it in the next 10, 20, 30 years. In closing, if I can add, this morning, our breakfast meeting we had with the Secretary General of the OAS. We also had the group of nations at that meeting. It has become customary that this meeting is held to give a report to the group of friends, to the group of nations who contribute to this process, so that we can give it sort of a report card for them to know what is happening, the advancements that we are making. And I'm happy to report today that we have 2 other countries that are joining the group of friends. France and the Dominican Republic has joined on. Without their invaluable support, like I said, politically, economically, this entire process would not be possible. And so it's important for us, both Belize and Guatemala, to show that we are still committed, we still are in solidarity to try to find a definitive and peaceful resolution to this claim.
Thank you for sharing that really important news as we look ahead into the future of the relationships between these 2 countries. So
Sure.
Thank you for your time, and to our listeners, once again, stay tuned for the rest of the coverage that we have prepared for you during this General Assembly. Thank you.
No, thank you.